Yes. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the globe. It is your darling program, The Comrade and Friends, a segment of The Comrade Show. Today, the 24th of September, 2023. We are here again to serve you. So many issues to talk about. And we've tagged today's program, The Endless Tales of Nigeria Tragedy. In the course of the program, we'll be looking at a popular musician who recently passed away, aka Mobad. We shall be looking at the Tinubu certificate saga, and of course, we'll be coming home to look at the Governor Godin of Obaseki and Shaibu's Wahala. Only recently, the deputy governor gave a very public apology to his principal. These are more we shall be talking about. Do not touch that die. Stay with us. It is your darling program, The Comrade and Friends. We'll be with you.
Comrade Show, wait, Comrade Lante Oriake. This is the Comrade Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and friends of The Comrade Show, we are back. I'm not alone today, but I remain your friend and brother, your comrade, Pharmacist Augustine Iremiran. I have with me as well the CNC of The Comrade Show, Comrade Lante Paosaraki. Comrade Lante, please, can you say hello to our wonderful viewers?
Thank you very much, Comrade Pharmacist Austin Iremira. Yes, Nigerians across the world, greetings to you all. It is the Comrade and Friends, the Sunday tonic. Yes, we're here to look at the issues again. Don't go away. It's going to be quite interesting. Thanks for joining. And don't forget to share. Just share as much as you can. That'd be nice.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. You are looking very good. You are done with the regular white color of the Comrade Show and indeed your cap. Viewers and friends of the Comrade Show, you know the drill. Share, follow us. At some point in the course of the program, we shall open the lines for you to make contributions. Remember to follow us on TCS blog as well, so that this information will go far and wide. Thank you so much, friends and viewers of the Comrade Show. Once again, it's Sunday, the 24th of September, 2023. And like I said in the intro, our topic today is Mammoth and Enormous. And we've carved it, the endless tale of Nigeria tragedy. And in these tragedies, we shall be looking at the recent death of Mobad and the issues arising. We're also going to look at the Tinubu certificate saga. As you know, the former vice president of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, went to the courts in the US, and a lot has happened. And of course, coming down to Edo State, our dear Edo State, where there's been a rift between the governor and the deputy governor. And only a few days ago, we had a new twist to all of them. We shall try in the course of the program today to unpack them. Comrade Lamte, our CNC is there.
Yes.
I think this is very important and foremost. You have been a part of the creative and entertainment industry in Nigeria, and you still play a very important part. Only, I think, few weeks ago or last week, we heard of the death of Ileri Oluwa Oladimeji Aloba. Ileri Oluwa Oladimeji Aloba, popularly known as Mobad. He had his untimely death at the young age of 27, married with a wife and a young son of just about 5 months. And immediately after the death, different issues started featuring in. And this has affected a large part of the population, given that he is a young man, and of course the entertainment industry. In the last few days, there's been protests across many cities in Nigeria, and even outside Nigeria. There were demonstrations in the United States, and even I think there was a billboard that was on show to show the good work that this young man has done and continue to do before his untimely death. There have been different issues here and there. There have been allegations and counter allegations. Even the police in Lagos State has swung into action. And only recently, because shortly after his death, as we were told, he was buried almost immediately. But his body was exhumed for autopsy and further investigations. There are issues here and there. And this doesn't really portend well. First, for the entertainment industry, for the music industry, for Lagos State, and indeed for Nigeria. So many lessons to learn from what has happened. And as we begin to talk about this, I want to pray that the soul of Mobad will continue to rest in peace, and God will grant the immediate family, especially the wife and the young baby, and Mobad's aged parents, the fortitude to bear this very difficult and irreparable loss. Comrade Lamte, how did this come to you? Mobad is gone at the young age of 27.
Apparently sad. But I must make one confession here. What is happening, for me, it's quite revolutionary. But I fear, what the result of this revolution is going to be at the end of the road. It's quite sad. Unfortunately, I must say this to the world. I didn't actually know Mobad, that well. It just so happened that, after his death, when I started hearing, some of those songs which I've played time and again, I began to know that, see what's behind, these songs. This is a very young, talented man, and all of that. And with all the stories that we've heard on social media, all the things that have come out and every other thing, I kind of have a different approach to the whole situation. There are so many stories, and I've questioned a lot of things. And while people appear to be, very emotive about what has happened, which is, right, I think that there is a big part of it that we are not focusing attention on. I think that there is a need to ask and look at the details of all that has happened to this young man. Not just because this man is a talented artist, is a popular artist, and of course, from the stories coming out, he was in the ring of, some people that's, a lot of people front at the way they actually, have been doing their things and all of that, which is leading to this. But what I see as a bigger picture of Mobad's tragedy, the Mobad story is part of the endless tragedy of the Nigerian state. Since the death of Mobad, so many other young people have died, in circumstances that, ordinarily needed to be challenged. Okay, but because they are not popular, so to speak, because they've not been in the eye of the world, we don't have these reactions. Okay, now, why do I say that Mobad's story is part of the endless tragedy of the Nigerian state? It starts from the record label. Okay, now, and I've questioned, what is the standing of the record label, the Malia Records, with the relevant department of the Nigerian state, the entertainment department? Is the Malia Records registered accordingly? Now, what authority, what are the rules of engagement for Malia Records and all such records to engage teeny young Nigerians to sign them on? What are the terms of contract? What copy has the relevant state department of these contracts that Malia Records will have with so many young people and all of that? And what protection do these young talents, have coming from the states? These are issues that needed to be resolved, to be honest. And I would hope that, looking at the way this young man's story, has flourished, that the system will be challenged to start putting things right. Because there are so many Mobads out there. There are so many Mobads that have died under probably similar circumstances that we're not heard of. And if we do not get these to some very important conclusion to ensure that the ills of today and yesterday are corrected, there will be many more Mobads in the future. So this is where I worry. Because we had something like this, very similar, when it was NSAS. You understand what I'm saying? Now, there was protests all across the world. We had protests here in the UK, in London, from London to Newcastle to Manchester. We had protests everywhere. At the end of the day, police brutality, is still very much on the rise in Nigeria. Just earlier today, I was listening to one young man, again, who was saying that Port Harcourt is very hot. You understand the picture from I'm saying now? A lot is happening in Port Harcourt. You understand? Now, when you turn the flip side of this, you now go away from the music industry. You go to our own darling state, Edo State, and see the way young men are dying because of court-related activities. These are things that needed to be tamed by the state. It is still the same coin that is rolling from all parts, of the nation. A nation that is not responsive to the needs of our populace. A nation that is not providing adequate security and protective measures for her people. A nation that is lacking in so many things. And at the end of the day, everybody just they play. And the Mobad story that we see today, people trooping out, doing all they are doing, showing love to Mobad and every other thing. At the end of the day, where will all of these lead us? Let's not forget, under President Goodluck Jonathan, I remember this story. What's his name? TB Joshua had one of his buildings, I think it was in Lagos, somewhere near Lagos or so, collapsed and hundreds of persons died. The next day, the president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan, paid, what's his name? TB Joshua a courtesy visit. And the question was, nobody bothered, to set up a commission of inquiry to find out why that happened, to ensure that measures are put in place. I want to round off with this by giving you an example. Some 10, 12, 15 years ago, I can't remember precisely, we have this, event center in Madrid, in Spain, called the Madrid Arena. There was a massive concert in that Madrid Arena. In the course of the concert, there was stampede, and 3 young girls died in that stampede. My brother, you don't want to know how many legislation came out because of that. You don't want to know how many people went to prison because of that. That building has been existing for a long time. The architect for that building, the contractors who built that building, they are still answering questions till today. Part of the legislation that came out was that for anybody to have any event in any closed place, you understand what I'm saying? Now, this and this and this and that measure, must be in place to ensure that what happened, because of Madrid Arena will not happen again in the future of Spain. That is a working system. That is a working government. So if this can spur us to revolutionize our state, revolutionize our own industry, to make Nigeria work more for the people, my brother, I am sure that the story of Mobad today will be avoided in the future. But it remains to be seen what's going to happen thereafter.
Thank you so much. I think, Comrade Lamte, you said it all. I just want to recall the words of Rufai Hussaini of Arise, who would always say that if we don't learn from our lessons, he is afraid it will happen again. And that has become the Nigerian story. Yeah. We must at this junction thank the Lagos State government for swinging into action, but we are also going to wait for them to hope that their action will not just end in just mere action, but we want to see lessons learned, we want to see corrections made so that it will not indeed happen again. But Comrade Lamte, why we wait for those investigations? Because we don't know what is going to come out of it. But there are 2 things I want us to talk about on this issue. I think you've hammered on one. Governance is at the heart of everything that we do. But I also see something: education. Education interlocked with courtism, where people are even saying now that school is a scam. What is your take on this? Could this has also been a contributing factor? Because people are not educated. They sign all form of documents without really reading it. And these record labels just get these kids because they want to get into fame and do whatever they like. So 2 things are important for me. Education for our kids, that's one. And secondly, the roles of these record labels, or would I say managers, for upcoming artists. Don't you think that is also a factor? How do you see that?
The honest fact is that a well-educated society is a better society. There's no doubt about that. But again, you cannot put the blame of that on the populace. Education is purely a matter of government policy. You get the picture of what I'm saying now. It's purely a matter of government policy for a people to be educated. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Now, we have had people in government, who have sort of developed policies of I don't care. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? So people don't look at the future of the Nigerian state. People just look at their own, satisfying their self-serving, hunger and all of that. So it doesn't matter what happens in future. And that is why we will sit down and listen to an appeal court judgment. You understand what I'm saying now? Like a child's play. An appeal court judgment that is not looking at, what a pronouncement will mean for the future of the state. An appeal court judgment that will just look at probably what may have satisfied, the personal interest of the judges and those probably that have, reached out to them without looking at the consequences of their pronouncement, on the state. Because at the end of the day, the Tinubus of today will die and leave this country. At the end of the day, the Atiku Abubakar of today will die and leave this country. At the end of the day, the what's it called, the Peter B of today will die and leave this country.
Even myself and yourself.
Yes, this generation will pass away, but the pronouncement made by this court will live on. You understand what I'm saying now? To challenge the future generations. So this is what we have, as part of the Nigerian state, and it's all part of the mammoth or the myriad of tragedies that we can lay claim to, that we can point out as far as these issues are concerned. So bro, when we talk about education, for instance, it is like treating the surface and leaving the foundation. And the foundation is what is key to every other thing. Getting it right from the foundation, we will get it right, from this on the surface as well. But don't forget, even the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of righteousness, and every other thing shall be added unto you. So even if you aspire for riches, you aspire for good health, you aspire for this, you aspire for that, they are all just surface. Get first the kingdom of righteousness, and all of these other things will naturally follow. So yes, you are right. Education is very, very key. But again, the important thing is we must get our governance right. And getting our governance right must start from getting our elections right. It must equally start from getting our judicial pronouncements right for the interest of the future of this country. When all of these things are right and we're able to strengthen institutions, every other thing will naturally fall in place. The issue of Mobad may not happen in Nigeria if we have a more, a working system. And a working system will not just fall from heaven. It falls from strengthening the institutions. It falls from respecting the rule of law. It falls from allowing the judiciary to be truly independent. You understand what I'm saying now? All of these are the structural issues. At the end of the day, when everybody's crying Malian records, the real culprit, the people who killed Mobad, is the failure of the Nigerian system, which is hugely anchored on those that have been at the helm of affairs as far as Nigeria is concerned.
Yeah, thank you so much, Komilante. I couldn't agree with you more. I think government exists to look after its people, to look after its country. A lot indeed has gone wrong.
Yes.
And I can tell you that almost every facet of our system has one or two questions to answer. Like you said, it's Mobad today. Who knows who it will be tomorrow? But when we get our system right, when we get legislation in place, things indeed will work out for us. But Judge Komilante, the last on this, there's so many issues to say that even the people doing this, they say they have lots of people in high places in government, and as such, nothing would happen. Nepotism again. What's your take on that as we wrap up on this Mobad issue?
No, how do you can you rephrase that?
Yeah, because they are saying that some of these people are very powerful and they go about doing anything, saying that they have enough people in government and nothing will happen to them.
Well, I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised because already when the system is largely a failed system, then anything goes. It is because of failure of system that people can say we are people in government. A working system We've seen working systems where even the most mighty are brought down by the provision of the system. You understand the picture from what I'm saying now? I mean, we are here in the UK and we see prime ministers, going to answer cases in court and every other thing. Who can be, more important than the prime minister of a country? Who can be bigger than the prime minister of a country? Where we see a prime minister being fined, you understand, a sitting prime minister being fined for abusing the rules of engagement. You understand what I'm saying now? So you cannot see anybody, for example, in the UK come to say that I have people in government, so nothing is going to happen to me. When the people you have, who is going to be housed the prime minister? Yeah, the prime minister was fine.
In fact, having people in government is the reason why things must even happen to you.
Absolutely. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, for Nigeria, it's part of the tragedy, which is so painful, which hurts me every day. I mean, you and I live here in the UK. You understand what I'm saying now? It's for us, it looks like it's an escape route, a painful one at that your own system cannot just work, so that all of these beautiful brains that we have abroad can actually derive some satisfaction by going back home to make contributions. The other day, I was listening to a scholar in the United States reeling out how Nigerians are impacting the US positively. You understand what I'm saying now? As the most brilliant immigrant community in the United States, having the most doctors than any other ethnic group, having the most PhD holders than any other, immigrant communities, even more than, the people, the owners of the United States and every other thing. Looking at how we have transversed the world and we are making huge contributions. Look at the UK today and how much contributions we are making. And yet, the same human resources that we have deployed to all of these places across the world, we cannot just put our acts together and give the benefits of this effort to our people. My brother, the true killer of Mobad and the many Mobads all across the nation is the Nigerian state. The issue of the money records and all of those other people, those ones just come secondary. Those ones are able to thrive because there's a systemic failure. And I dare say that for us to, not have a repeat of the Mobad story, we must challenge the system. Where people are in the street right now, calling out the money records, calling out Naira Marley and all of those other guys, persons of interest and every other thing, and nobody is calling on the system. For me, it looks yet and again another answers. I hope I am wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I join you in hoping that we are both wrong. May Nigeria never happen to us.
Amen.
The issue of Mobad continue to be a story that we'll be talking about and following the government to see how these all unfold.
Yeah.
But I want to say again, may his gentle soul find perfect rest, and may God console the immediate family, the wife and the baby and the immediate family, and give them the fortitude to bear this loss. Mobad continue to rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, it is your darling program, The Comrade and Friends. Remember the deal, you have to share. And if you have an opinion, please leave your comment on the comment section. You'll be sure that we're going to announce whatever comments you have. And at some point, we're going to open the line, pick up the phone, and make a contribution towards these very important and topical issues that we'll continue to discuss on this platform. You recall that when we started, we told us that today we're going to be looking at the endless tales of Nigerian tragedy. We've looked at the Mobad issue, but only just few days gone, there's been a ton of event and drama in the Nigerian situation. Now, having implication in Nigeria federal government and also in faraway United States. Nigeria has been in a very bad light these few days. I feel personally touched, and I'm not happy indeed with the situation. There's no gainsaying the obvious that the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal has given its verdict, and APC, PDP, Labour Party, and one allied party has said that they're going to go to the Supreme Court. I think this week, all filing has been done for the issues to be discussed again in the Supreme Court. And hopefully, we'll be getting finality to this around the end of November and early December. But in this issue of the president of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we had a new twist. It was on Monday or Tuesday where Atiku Abubakar, the former vice president of Nigeria and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, filed a suit in the United States, and the issue was judged that the certificate of Bola Ahmed Tinubu from CSU University should be released. Barely 24 hours after that judgment was passed, the APC, led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his legal team, filed a counter motion to stay the motion off. And what they alleged was that the release of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's certificate will cause an irreparable damage. We shall be looking at that. What irreparable damage will this cause? Is this not just a mere certificate? But in the US, there's now a stay of execution, and we are waiting on Monday for the judge to decide the way forward. While many have argued that this is not important, it will make little or no contribution to the issue at hand, because in the Supreme Court, there will be no fresh issue. But I dare want to say that this leaves a moral burden. I am a product of University of Benin. If my certificate is called to question, I will be happy to release it. And I think University of Benin should be happy as well to release it. After all, it's my own certificate. What is it in the certificate that is causing our country to be in a bad light? Would Bola Ahmed Tinubu continue to remain as president and not be able to show his certificate? Is there something in the certificate that we don't know? What is all this about? I am miffed. I am surprised. I am semi-astonished. And like we say in SUG, I am disdain. Comrade Lamte, what is your take?
I think it's just laughable. It's just laughable. It brings to mind all of the issues preceding the election, all of the arguments we have made over and again. That the choice of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, overtly or covertly, for Nigeria is a wrong choice. This is the way they've hit the ground running. And it's so unfortunate that we are all put in some ridicule. When I was reading, the papers, reading the New York Times on this particular matter, citing Bloomberg, citing, Punch newspapers, Sahara Reporter, and every other thing, something was constant amongst all of these. Apart from the name of Bola Ahmed Tinubu being mentioned, Nigeria was constant. And when Nigeria is constant, it therefore means that we are all part of this constant. At the end of the day, the saga is not so much felt by Bola Ahmed Tinubu as it is felt by responsible Nigerians. It's yet again another low for this country. You understand what I'm saying? Because I read the first the first judgment by the judge that said that the right of Tinubu to privacy has been lost because the certificate submitted by Tinubu to INEC is being disputed. The certificate is not clear, it's being challenged. So therefore, the opposition have a right to ask Chicago University to release the original statement and every other thing. And quickly, like you said, within a day, they went back to challenge the decision of that judge. You understand what I'm saying now? And with all of the arguments they have made, and you rightly saying that, look, you are running for a public office. Everything about you, the only thing that cannot be private, that cannot be public about you, has to be with your wife's, privacy, your wife's private part, or what you guys do, what you do in your wife's bedroom. Every other thing has to be public. That is what the Constitution says. So now challenging and trying to stop people from assessing what should be public is a very serious issue. And to the question whether this is going to impact the decision of the Supreme Court or not, it doesn't really matter. You understand what I'm saying now? I think that for Nigeria, the truth needs to be out there. It's very important, okay? We have argued that this man has lied under oath. He has committed perjury against the land. This man is ambitious, okay? This man is holding this nation spellbound even as we speak, and yet there are issues like this thing hanging. I think that for Christ's sake, the judgment we should expect by Monday, by the grace of God, should be that Chicago University should release the exact university. The case being challenged, by article is what year did Bola Ahmed Tinubu enter the university? What year did he graduate? What were his activities, in the school, and all of those things. And those this matter. You understand what I'm saying now? To verify whether Supreme Court, heat or whatever is going to come out of that place or not. Some of us already, Nigerians basically can look at themselves and say, well, we probably know the direction of the Supreme Court. Okay, it's probably not going to be different from the appeal court. But for posterity's sake, let Nigerians have the exact clear picture on the state of Bola Ahmed Tinubu's certificates, as far as Chicago University is concerned. Let that be there. Probably, if it doesn't happen now, maybe in the next window, Bola Ahmed Tinubu may want to consider whether, against the backdrop of having committed acts of perjury against the Nigerian state, in this term, would want to see if he lied. Anyway, you understand? If what is submitted is actually a different thing from the records held by Chicago University and all of that. You understand what I'm saying now? Then we'll not see if, again, the Nigerian state and the system and the laws will allow him, you understand what I'm saying now, a legal ground, you understand, to contest the next election after this term. Because from what we see, we have seen 99. It remains to be seen what is left of 100.
Yeah, Comrade, we've seen 99. It remains to be seen what's left of 100. But I just want to say, why do Nigerians even struggle to bring certificates of higher institutions? In Nigeria, you don't really need to have a certificate to be president of Nigeria. You don't even need to have a school cert. You just need evidence to say that you went there. You don't even need to pass. And you can even convince INEC if you can speak English. And then you are good to go. Why is this rush for us? Because you know that certificate issue has caused lots of problems in our polity. We've lost Senate president and members out of rep because of certificates.
Yeah.
Why is there a penchant for us to always do this? And somebody has also argued that we are only wasting our time. Bola Ahmed Tinubu knows what he's doing. He's just allowing Atiku Abubakar to sort of burn all this money in all these legal tussles. He has the certificate and is well educated. I am not in doubt because I have followed Bola Ahmed Tinubu for many years. He is sagacious. He is educated. And I think he has all these certificates. But the underlying factor is I just cannot understand how this will cause irreparable damage. So, Comrade Lamte, I want you to look at that. What is the irreparable damage that the certificate will cause to us?
Okay,
And
there are two issues here. Two issues. First and foremost was the issue of certificates, okay, and all of that. Like you said, what the provision of the Constitution is at the very barest minimum, school cert.
Yeah.
Okay.
Attempted.
Yes.
Attempted.
Yes. That's what the Constitution provides. And of course, attain a certain age, first and foremost, and all of that. Now, on the issue of that, if, for instance, you have a university degree and you just choose to submit school certs, okay, and that's what you submitted. Now, every other thing that will come after will be judged on the basis of what is submitted, which is that school cert. So nobody is good as a pharmacist. If you decide not to submit your degree, your university degree as a pharmacist, nobody's going to query you. If you decide to just say, man, look, I went to so-and-so primary school, I'm submitting my secondary school, I'm submitting my secondary school certificate. Okay, that's fine. I'm sure that nobody will go beyond that. Nobody's going to say, why didn't you submit your pharmacy certificate? Now, where it becomes an issue is, if you go ahead to submit that you have a PhD, people want to take you up on that because If you have lied at that level, you have committed an act of perjury against the Nigerian state. And to that extent, you should be disqualified from that aspiration. Because if you have the capacity and the propensity to lie in that manner, it therefore means that you cannot be entrusted with the patrimony of the state. Because at the end of the day, what we are talking about right now is that you are aspiring, okay, to be the number one citizen of the state, as the case may be, in this case, president. You understand what I'm saying now? To dispense for on our behalf, our patrimony, to decide how our economy is going to go, to become the chief security officer and the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. You understand what I'm saying? And all of that. So to be that person, you must be somebody that, have presented him or herself, as a credible human being with integrity. But if you did not attend Chicago University and you claim in your certificates, in the form that you're submitting to the, to INEC or to the electoral body that you attended, it therefore means that you are not qualified to be president. If, for instance, Bola Ahmed Tinubu attended his solo primary school, and what is submitted to INEC is his solo secondary school, and what is submitted to INEC is his solo secondary school living certificate and every other thing, and Nigeria, the INEC just went there, verified that, everybody goes there, verified that, nobody will question anybody, because that is what is submitted, and what is submitted actually met the requirement of the law, right? Now, that is why some of us were baffled at the appeal court judgment. The question on the form EC8 asks, have you ever, had, or do you have any nationality of any other state apart from Nigeria? Bola Ahmed Tinubu on that form that I saw was no. Only for us to find out that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, at the same time as being a Nigerian citizen, is a citizen of Guinea. And yet, the tribunal just made a case to just make that thing look like it is nothing. And this hugely contravenes the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. So these are the areas where the issues are. So even for the past, for people that may have had issues with certificate and every other thing, people are thrown out on the basis of the fact that they've lied under oath. Nobody, is under any obligation whatsoever to submit a non-existent certificate. If you have been to secondary school, attempted school, such as the case is, and every other thing, you can become anything in Nigeria if you have age. You are not under duress to submit, but anybody who can actually go ahead to submit what is not, truly is not fit to occupy a position of authority. And so we have a lot of people that have a position of authority that do not merit being there, that have lied one way or the other to find themselves there. So at the end of the day, how will the nation move forward? It's going to be very difficult. And this is where we are. And that is exactly what it is with Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I may not be surprised that Bola Ahmed Tinubu truly have, Chicago University certificate. I may not be surprised. You understand? Like you said earlier, I may not be surprised. But the truth of the matter is that all of this drama, okay, is demarketing Nigeria, and by extension, demarketing all of us Nigerians who live in the diaspora. You look at these things, they're in the news, people are reading about them, and you come to certain places, and people just ask you, where are you from originally? You are just so ashamed to say you are Nigerian, because yesterday, the biggest news on television is about Nigeria. Unpalatable. It's a tragedy.
I couldn't agree with you more. We feel this every time. Those people back home may not understand, but those in diaspora, we know the implication of this. But Comandante, we've said it for the opt-in time. I have often mentioned that the president of Nigeria, after Jesus Christ, is the next most powerful person. And we've talked about this often, again and again and again, saying that all pre- and post-election matters should be settled before the governor or president is sworn in. You agree with me that Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done a lot since taking office, since becoming president on May 29. He was even in the United States where he rang that bell. And you saw the loquacious response by Andiri Ngelale saying that Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the first Nigerian to have done that. That just on the side. The government are settled and they are working. Like it or leave it. Don't you think it's going to be a very hoppy tax? Because the government in itself has all the paraphernalia of office to do and undo. I strongly believe, and I want to advise and recommend to the National Assembly, for the sake of our country, Nigeria, legislation should be put in place to make sure that all pre and post election matters are resolved before swearing in, so that when the government is in place, it will face the work of governance and forget about all these other issues that will serve as detractions. You must agree with me that the federal government, led by Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in my opinion, I think they are seriously distracted. Distracted with the certificate issue, distracted with legitimate issue, and even distracted with the issue of conscience. But Comrade Lamte, as we round up on this, on Monday, it's a very great day on this issue. We don't know what is going to come out of it. If the judge, in his wisdom, will say, go ahead and release the certificate, or do not release the certificate. Just your last word on this. Do you want to sort of use your visionary eyes, like the man that saw tomorrow, to try to think of what you think the judgment of tomorrow will be?
Well, first, I want to believe that the American justice system is an impeccable one. And I want to believe that judges in America cannot be bribed. One thing that we can all be sure of is that the people in power today, they have the capacity to make advances to anybody and to coerce anybody. That being said, I expect, because of the controversy already generated by this issue, I expect and hope that the judgment tomorrow will be in line with the earlier judgment to, direct that Chicago University, releases everything, requested by Atiku Abubakar, because it will be in the interest of not just the American justice system, it will be in the interest of the entire African justice system. You understand what I'm saying? And to set that examples, and of course, to lay to rest, a matter that puts a serious moral burden on the Nigerian people. It's very important so that we move on from there and move on to a different page. Because we must, as people of Nigeria, as Nigerians, know to a large extent the state of the Nigerian president. You understand? Say in and out. If we're unable to know that and things are still shrouded in this kind of man-made mystery, it's not in the interest of anybody. So I want to hope and believe that the judgment tomorrow will be in favor of Atiku Abubakar and will be in favor of Nigerian people. Not just because it is Bola Ahmed Tinubu, but because this, is what is right. This is what the Nigerian law provides for. And this is important for posterity.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte, for that, for your comment on this very last issue regarding the Bola Ahmed Tinubu certificate scandal. Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, please remember to share. Do not watch alone. Share. And if you are watching us, please pick up the phone, give us a ring, or write a comment. We really want to hear from you because the feedback mechanism is indeed very, very good. My last statement on this Tinubu certificate saga. I want to believe. I think that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man that is full of surprises. And Comrade Lamte, I want to suggest and I want to say, like it is in my mind, I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going to shock us. I think by the early hours of tomorrow, he would by himself release the certificate to Nigerians. It's only paper now, not be paper. I'm sure Bola Ahmed Tinubu would release the certificate even before the judgment comes from far away in United States. I'm sure. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is well educated. I know he has that certificate in his kitty. He has allowed PDP to waste their money in judicial wahala. He will release it tomorrow, and I think Nigerians would like to see that. And like you said, that moral burden indeed will be removed. Thank you so much for your contribution, Comrade Lamte. Thank you so much for many of our viewers that have made comments. We are going to the very last but important issue for discussion today as we look at the endless tale of Nigeria tragedy. We are coming home to our darling state, Edo State. We talked about this last week. Edo State has been in the news for so many reasons. Like it or leave it. Good or bad. But I'd like to just talk about the very good one. Only this, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, the regular Alagodaro summit that was bettered midwife by the present government of Governor Godwin Obaseki have unveiled the program for the seventh Alagodao. On this occasion, this will be the last for the Governor Godwin Obaseki-led government. The Alagodaro summit started in 2017, and year in, year out, around November time, we always see this. And this one is unique because it is the last one by Governor Godwin Obaseki, and the plan is to unveil all he has done for the last 7 years and to give a new direction to Edo State and indeed for the new government. Alagodawo is always filled with fanfare, pageantry, everything, government showcase, everything. I think it's very important because these are the things that we are going to hold Governor Godwin Obaseki for. So I think this seventh Alagodawo summit, the very last for the Governor Godwin Obaseki-led government, will be very important. And I think he's the chairman. I think he's been the chairman of that occasion. But at the swearing yesterday or 2 days ago, he was unavoidably absent, and the secretary of the federal of the state government represented. But it has been declared there have been various committees that have been set up, headed by different big wigs in the government and even commissioners and head of parastatals. Comrade Lante Ikponsaraki, Alagodaro Summit in Edo State, the seventh in the series of Governor Godwin Obaseki's reign. What's your take?
I think for me, I like the idea that we're having a summit like this. I like the idea that as a government, we have something that we look forward to like this, where interactions can take place, where, people can discuss opportunities and hopefully take it from there. I'm just somebody who like, things like that. You understand what I'm saying now? That people look forward to as, part of what becomes a trademark of a particular government. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? I like that. The only challenge is the whole idea being prepared by government about Alaudao. I don't know if I really have seen, how Alaudao has materialized to the extent of providing abundant employment for Edo State people, like was the original idea when it was, when it started some 7 years ago, that this would be a platform where Edo State can attract investors to Edo State. So I don't know how many investors really have been attracted to Edo State courtesy of Alaudao. I don't know, I cannot independently speak to that. And to be honest, I don't really think that under Governor Obaseki that we have actually attracted that much employment. We have really driven employment to an appreciable state in Edo State. Because I still have a lot of people before Obaseki became governor of Edo State, they were unemployed. Lots of people who are independent in their own right. And after Obaseki became governor, most of these people are still unemployed. As a matter of fact, many have actually, tried to find their way through whatever means to travel out of Nigeria to seek, better life and all of that. So that being said, this second part becomes a different issue to be discussed differently. But that we have a summit like this and everybody's gathering in Edo State to have a discussion, to interact, to meet other people and try to break boundaries for themselves and every other. I think for that it's a noble idea. It's just for me serving like some of these United Nations programs. You hear today, you hear G20 summit, you hear G summit on climate change, and then at the end of the day, they all turn out to just be hollow speeches and where leaders just come together and rub minds and go home, and the problem remains the same. As we have largely seen with the United Nations and all of these summits. So it's just the same way. But I think it is worthwhile having that interaction, and bringing people together to have that interaction. I think kudos. And to say that it's going to be the last for Governor Obaseki, we cannot be too sure because Obaseki is going to hand over officially I think on the 11th of November. And so it may still be the agenda of the government to still have this one, allow that summit next year before the new government will take over. And again, it will be in the interest of those who are benefiting from it, because people will benefit from every allow without organized, because monies are being spent to get this thing organized, and people are having to get paid to put their own parts in it and every other thing. So like you said, at the end of the day, it is part of what hopefully, Obaseki will be judged on, rightly or wrongly. But for me, I think it's a beautiful ceremony for Edo State.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. I share your sentiment, and thank you for also reminding that there might be a possibility of yet another Alagodao in November 2024. But as it stands now, the one for this year, I think, is very important and very pivotal, because I think the government will want to use that opportunity to let Edo people know what is done. And it could also be a campaign material for the governor, because he would have a dog in the fight in 2024. And it will also be a campaign material for those that are aspiring. So they need to listen very well and get the report card of the governor. I like summits of that sort, but the only thing that summits happen, but they've not transformed to full beneficiary to the many citizens of these countries, and in this case, the citizens of Edo State. But we'll keep a tab on it and we'll look at it with rapt attention. Maybe there might be many takeaways when the government unveil the event and what they've done for this last 7 years. It is the brainchild of Governor Godwin Obaseki. And like you said, anything that will put Edo State in limelight and give us good news and raise our profile and hope is commendable. But on the flip side, what I want to talk about now is also one of the drawbacks of this government and the issues affecting Edo State. But just before I take that, I must read the comment by Fred Asemota, going back to the topic we discussed earlier on, saying that President Biden's son has just been charged for lying on the forms he filled out to get his gun license, and saying that but Tinubu was never charged for lying on the form about his citizenship. I don't quite get what Asemota is saying, but I think if I go by his first line, it only shows that it's a place where things are working. If the governor's son can be charged for lying, that shows that the system is working. And well, the issue of Bola Ahmed Tinubu lying in his form probably was never brought to fore before now, until after they went for the hearing by the PEPT. So indeed, time will tell. But what we should always do is to do the right thing, because if you do the right thing, things will work out. So coming back, I just wanted to read that just to thank Fred Asemota for taking time to make comments. I can see other comments from Henry Bakari. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, we've looked at the good part of something happening in Edo State, but there's also something not too palatable. We've talked about it before, but as we begin to get new twists, it is important that we also talk about it. It's no longer news that there's a serious rift between Governor Godwin Obaseki and Philip Shaibu. You recall that a few months ago, Philip Shaibu took the sitting governor to court, alleging that there's a possibility that he would be impeached. But events unfold, and as we have it, Philip Shaibu has since withdrawn that suit, and there's nothing against Governor Godwin Obaseki anymore. Last week, we saw another one where the deputy governor has been relocated to another office. And we also saw a video making rounds to say that he was unable to gain entrance into the office, alleging that his civil servant has been transferred, but he never got a letter saying that he should not use that office anymore. While we're trying to overcome that, another one indeed happened. The deputy governor, realizing probably his mistakes, or probably he's been advised, has come public to apologize profusely to his master, Governor Godwin Obaseki, begging indeed for forgiveness. Like he's always said, to err is human, to forgive indeed is divine. In the wisdom of Philip Shaibu, he has seen that his actions are not right, and he has come to apologize indeed for his principle. There are so many issues in Nigeria. It's only in Nigeria I see people apologizing. And like they always say, the office of deputy governor is more indeed like a spare tire. Is Philip Shaibu apologizing because he has suddenly realized that he has done wrong? Or is he apologizing to prevent a breakdown of his political firmament? Or is he apologizing because a lot has been taken away from him? For me, my opinion differ really from others. I don't see any reason why um, Philip Shaibu should apologize. I think as a man, you must be circumspect and you must think very well before you make any action. You must be guided. And if you are driven by inordinate ambition that has made you to do that, you must indeed face penalty. I'm not holding forth for Governor Godwin Obaseki. And if 2024 is the issue at hand, I am seriously against Philip Shaibu running for president, running for governorship of Edo State. He has a right, but I don't think it's fair. You recall that the former governor of Edo State is from Edo North and Esako to be precise. And he handed over power 7 years ago to Governor Godwin Obaseki from Edo South. And now, by 2024, Governor Godwin Obaseki would be leaving office and is due to hand over baton to another person. How is it fair in a state where we are so divided on so many fronts, language, different barriers? How is it fair given a situation where the next governor will come again from Esako? Not just coming from Esako now, which is Edo North, leaving the old ones and the Akoko Edo. He's going back to Esako and is coming again from the same family that handed over to Governor Godwin Obaseki. Edo State is not a two-family issue. So it's on that note that I think, on moral ground, Philip Shaibu should not have even considered running for governor. But what do I know? That is indeed my only view. But let us go back to the issue on ground today. Philip Shaibu has come out publicly to apologize. Comrade, if you have that video on you, can we play it before I take your comments?
So we have resumed. There's no problem about it. The governor have asked us to go there. We are going. I am, like I always tell people, I am a loyal servant. I am a loyal servant. There's nothing that has changed. I took a personal vow to support my governor, and you can see my Catholic people are here. Everything about me, if I have a vow with God, there's nothing that will change it. And I can only wish that that relationship that we have, I pray, I know in the next few days and weeks it will come back. I'm missing my governor really, but by the grace of God, I know God will touch the governor's heart and touch all of us. And even those that are trying to be in between, God will touch them to know that I mean well. If there's any mistake that I've made as human, it's just human. It's not out of maybe wickedness, because I'm not wicked. I have a very clean heart. And I will use the medium too to appeal to Mr. Governor. If there's anything that I don't know that I've done, please forgive me, so that we can develop our state together. We have just less than how many months? Just 1 year to go. We have been the envy of the entire country. It's still possible. So, Mr. Governor, please, if there's anything you feel that I've done, I am sorry. I need us to work together to finish well and strong, because that is my prayer for you.
The cookies indeed have come to crumble. Oh, man of little faith. Big people, like they say, and even the rich also cry. What's your take?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that for me, it's commendable, if not for anything, that there's a chance that we can embrace some peace in Government House, and there's a chance that these unpalatable optics can leave our sight, so we can be focused on some other things that are very salient and important to the people of Edo State. On the issue of why Philip Shaibu will have to apologize to the governor, honestly, the reasons are best known to him and what he's going through. I know that what the events of the last couple of weeks have shown is that Felix Shaibu has had to, bear some very serious hits that he may not have anticipated when he was going to court against his, take his boss to court. I've said publicly that for Felix Shaibu to have gone ahead, with a preemptive strike like that, asking the court to adjudicate over suspicion, I think it was not a right step in the right direction. And I've also equally said that Felix Shaibu, if he has done wrong and there's the reason why he should be impeached, okay, if he has committed any impeachable offense against the state and his office, there is no court that should stop him. He should be impeached. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? And all of that, because that's what the law provides for. You are holding your office in trust. You understand what I'm saying? And so I've also said that. So to now start preempting the court and all those things and all of that. But again, the sledgehammer of Governor Obaseki has come hard. This matter itself has exposed Obaseki reasonably as far as I'm concerned. I'm not pleased with that, particularly when Obaseki was discussing with some leaders and he was telling them that one of the things that led to feud was Felix Shaibu choosing a different speaker against the one he chose. And I thought such public statements are very indicting, and yet it looked like business as usual. You understand? For an executive governor to be decided who become the Speaker of the House of Assembly, it's normalized in Nigeria. But some of us throw our hearts, into the ring to support Governor Obaseki because we want these normalized anomalies to be changed. And Obaseki was the man that we thought would change some of those anomalies that have characterized our democracy by allowing some independence, because it's only when we allow such independence, where we allow people to choose who their leaders are, we can truly have a fledgling democracy. But to tell us that he's still part of this same old brigade, honestly, did not go down well with some of us. Honestly, I am not pleased with it and all of that. So I've really vented my anger on that. You understand what I'm saying now? Because it is what it is. But having said that, we equally have heard, unconfirmed reports have said that Felix Shaibu is being hounded. Some filling stations that are allegedly owned by Felix Shaibu have been, the license of those filling stations have been withdrawn. Felix Shaibu is no longer giving anything as far as government is concerned. It's just made redundant. And so if a man is under such pressure, it is very easy for that same man to be advised or pressurized to apologize, and he will do if that is the case. But we don't know. But whichever thing may have led to his apologies, whether it is honest or not honest, whether he's trying to protect his own, what's it called, his own benefit and his own interests, and this is the only way he will do that, okay, well, it's up to him. At the end of the day, what some of us want to see is that we want to see at least an optic that resembles, if not entirely so, a government working in harmony, because collectively they will both answer to the people of Edo State at the end of their tenure. Whether they are fighting themselves now, they are not fighting themselves. At the end of their tenure, people are going to open the books and look at where they have done well and where they have not done well. And if they have siphoned, the resources of Edo State, people will open those books. You understand? Because there are people taking the records as well, and all of so their interest, part of this matter. And so it doesn't matter. So they better be together to end the race together as much as possible, and so that they will be judged collectively and all that. There's another matter I want to address. Just want to take a chance to address it. People have often said that the deputy governor has no, office, has no role, has no this, has no that. To be honest, it's just so sad that some of these statements are coming from.
It's a joint ticket, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just so sad that some of the statements are coming from, ushers of the governor. So I understand that. But the truth is this, setting the record straight. And these are probably some of the areas where probably I personally would advocate that the Constitution requires that before you get elected, you should have a deputy. If you don't have a deputy, you won't be on the ballot. You know what I'm saying now? If you have been selected through the primary process and you do not have a running mate, you won't be on the ballot. Now, part of the provision of the constitution is this: that your deputy will act in your absence and shall carry out other functions that he shall be assigned. Now, when you die, automatically your deputy takes over, which means that your deputy is as important as you are. If your deputy dies, it is constitutionally incumbent on you to choose a different deputy because the state cannot afford to be vacant. If you are on vacation, it's important that you pass the baton to your deputy to act in your absence. So, which means that the deputy is very important. The only thing I'd like to add that probably the constitution need to start apportioning certain offices to deputy. To say, the deputy will be in charge of immigration, will be in charge of this, will be in charge of that. Constitutionally, without the power of the governor to remove, or president or local government chairman to remove such from the deputy. So that before a deputy is elected, you get a picture from what I'm saying now, there are constitutional provisions in areas where the deputy will act. Okay? And of course, any other thing that shall be assigned to him by the state executive council or by the federal executive council or by the local council executive council. But to just say on a blanket note, to say the deputy shall act in your absence and shall carry out any other function he or she shall be assigned, I honestly think that is creating a lot of immorality. And what we have seen in those states is a very serious, despotic, power immorality. In this case, on the part of the governor of Edo State, and it's unpalatable. You understand? I mean, it's not just because of the governor of Edo State or the government of Edo State right now. I think it's the same thing nationally, and it is something that needs to be checked. Recall, bro, we had a thing like this in our days in the SUG, University of Benin. You can remember. We had in the office of the Secretary General, we had a Secretary General office, we have the Assistant Secretary General office. At a time, the Parliament of the SUG, University of Benin, assigned certain duties.
Yes.
Yeah, to the office of the Assistant Secretary General of the, that the Secretary General cannot, you understand what I'm saying now, educate on or say anything about. It was the role of the Assistant Secretary General to organize this, organize the Union Week, organize this, and organize that. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? Constitutionally provided, and budget was made available for that. So while the Secretariat is being run by the Secretary General, who is able to assign other duties to his assistant, there are constitutional requirements made by the Assistant Secretary to equally carry out. So I think that a thing like that is healthy. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the Secretary General of the University of Benin cannot just toss these assistants around to say, I'm relegating you, because the man has his own role, or the woman has his own role to play as well, provided by law. So I think that a thing like that may be healthy for the smooth running of the Nigerian state, because we have seen a lot of political immorality, power immoralities, you understand what I'm saying now, on the part of the people who are heading the ticket. And I mean, it shouldn't be so. You understand? It was a shame to see a whole deputy governor of the state become so irrelevant.
I'm begging publicly.
I'm begging, you understand what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong in begging. I love humility, you understand, if that becomes the driving force. But the level where we now saw a deputy governor being locked out of the government house, I thought it was a hit below the belt, to be honest.
Yeah. No, Comrade Lamte, thank you for bringing that in. I think that again draws the attention that we are giving to Nigerian constitution. It's not our constitution. It needs to be looked into and reviewed properly. And like I said, from being a science student, it's always said that cells come from previously existing cells. Yeah. This is not the first time it's happening in Edo State. It's just that Philip Shaibu took it to another level because he himself is ambitious, he thinks he's sarcastic, and he's also very wise. Yeah. Governor Oshomole did this to Deputy Governor Odubu. And then Governor Obaseki was in the heart of that government. He has learned very well from his master. The
Absolutely.
only difference now is just that Odubu himself was a very quiet man, so he didn't have the ambition to come out openly and all that. But Philip Shaibu is somebody different and he has come out openly. So this is the tragedy across many states in Nigeria. Just to digress a bit, I take you to Ondo State for what is happening right now. Governor Arakuri, I think Akeredolu was is not been feeling very well,
Yeah.
and he went abroad for treatment, lasting close to 2 to 3 months. And whilst he was there, he transmitted power to the deputy Ayeda Tiwa, and Ayeda Tiwa continued. But Governor Akeredolu only came back a week ago, and Ayeda Tiwa is being placed for suspension or impeachment by the House of Assembly.
Yeah.
So and Governor Arakunri is even a legal luminary. So it is a big issue in our country, and all these people are within government to tell lies, to create problems, because the roles indeed are not defined. If you have come from sickness for 3 months, are you not duty bound to say thank you, my deputy, for standing forth? Must your deputy be punished? Again, the deputy is also ambitious, putting peg in different place to outwit his master. So it's a situation of dog chop dog.
Dog.
And it's not good for the citizens of the state and the citizens of the country. We have to apply strong moral compass. And like he's always said, an error left uncorrected is a sign of intellectual immorality.
Immorality.
And that is what we face in our country. But Comrade Lamte, I think you have the opinion that public apology by Shaibu is okay. For me, I think for the optics is very wrong. I'm a man that apology is good, but you must think well. You must think twice before you take action. And when you apologize, you're simply just apologizing because you think that your benefit has indeed been taken away from you. If the fight was going the way of Philip Shaibu, I do not think that he would have come to apologize. It's because it's clear that he has met an Imaton who has also become a godfather in that area. But just on the last word on this, as we talk about it, why do we always like to drive tribalism and religion into it? Philip Shaibu has suddenly realized that he's a good Catholic and is very loyal. What happens to the people that voted, the roads in Edo State, the good governance that we have not got in Edo State? Was that not part of the loyalty and what he would have stand for? I wish Philip Shaibu was standing to say that I'm against the governor because the governor has not done right for the people. Now he's driving religion into it and saying that he's a Catholic. What is this role of religion? I think it's a big problem in our state and in Nigeria. I just want you to put your mouth on that as we round off.
Well, privately, you already know my position on that. I honestly think, and I'm saying this publicly without a fear of intimidation, I honestly think that as part of those things that we need to correct in our state, Nigeria, as a state, if we do not relegate the role of religion in our own lives as a people, religion is going to destroy us finally as a country. You understand? This is very important. Whether Christian, Islam, or whatever, I think that these religions need to be relegated to people's bedrooms and not interfere with affairs of the state. They need to be banished from public, exuberances like we see. They need to be, slowed down seriously. You understand? If it's by way of introducing taxation, you understand what I'm saying? It is important because the issue of religion has been taken beyond what it should be, a personal relationship between people and their God. You understand? The interference of religion into state affairs, into social affairs, into every affairs of Nigerian state, my brother, it is a crime against humanity as far as Nigeria is concerned. It is a huge crime against our being. And I honestly think that having evaluated over the years how far we've come with Christianity, with Christian practice, with Islamic practice in Nigeria, they have not led us anywhere. They are a huge problem to our society. They are a huge problem for yesterday, today. They will be a bigger problem for tomorrow. I honestly think that the only time that religion should be mentioned in our constitution should be the right of people to practice whatever they want to practice, but practice it privately. Don't bring it to television. Don't bring it to any public space. You understand what I'm saying now? Hold your meeting, wherever you hold your meeting. Talk to your members, wherever you want to talk to your members. Don't make it a matter of national influence. That has become a problem. It is a big problem that is gigantic, ginormous, that it's a cancer right now in our well-being. The reason is this: people have been so religiously, hoodwinked, that they no longer have independence of mind to challenge the real things that matter, to challenge authorities, to challenge the laws that are oppressive, the laws that are subjugating the people, the laws that are making the people, not rise above the shackles of the nonsense that we currently experience. And what you easily hear people say is that the Lord will intervene. The Lord is not interested in what human beings adjudicate on. The Lord is not interested in your elections. The Lord is not interested in all of those things. Your parliament that is made up of some human beings that are of different, religious beliefs. Your parliament that is made up of people, who just come from different backgrounds, and they are using the same religion to influence the whole process. Honestly, if we relegate religion, people will not come out and appraise what is happening to them directly, and they are able to provide proper solutions to the issues at hand. Honestly, today, I am a Christian. Don't get me wrong, my brother. I pray in my closet. I have my strong relationship with God in my closet. I have studied the Bible in and out, and I can tell you, my brother, that most of the things I hear on Facebook, on social media, and all of that, praised by Christian leaders and all of that, they are all rogues. Most of them are rogues, and they are leading us as a people to doom, even before we even have the chance of making the heaven that is so much sought after. You understand? I honestly think that religion as it is right now should be a matter that's very highly personalized. It should be barred from television, barred from social media spaces and every other thing. Let people just practice privately, but let us confront government, governors, laws directly, putting religion away because God is not coming to come and solve these issues for us. We have to challenge the things that are before us. And the only thing God is going to do for us is enrich us, make us better human beings. You understand what I'm saying? Make us nice to our fellow, human beings. That is the provision. Because even Jesus Christ said, you understand, in his words, he said, in all of these, the most important is love your neighbor as yourself. And that is the only thing we need. All of these other jargons, my brother, they are all nonsense in the public space. They need to be abolished.
Thank you so much, Apostle Oriaki. I didn't know that you have this in your kitty. But I think it's very important that we put it out there. The only thing that will set us free is good governance and education, which encompasses that. People have often been deceived by religion.
Yeah.
If you are loyal, we'll see the loyalty. If you are kind, we'll see the kindness. If you love, we'll see the love. If whatever you do, we will see. Religion should be taken to the background. It's been one of those instruments that politicians and those in high places use to deceive us. Let's not indeed be carried away. Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, I must thank all of you for standing tall with us, listening and sharing today's program. And for our many fans and viewers who have made contributions and comments, we are indeed very grateful. We started today's program by looking at a very serious issue that happened recently with the death of Mobad, a 27-year-old man. We pray that his soul will rest in peace. We wait in fervent hope that the government will do right and everything concerning his death will be unveiled. And the lessons learned will be put for future so that this will not happen again. We also take a closer look at the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu certificate issue. We are waiting in hope for the judgment tomorrow. But we've also asked a very important question. What is in a certificate that becomes a problem for it not to be released? I have also suggested, and I believe by tomorrow, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will release it to put all this into finality. We took a closer look at Edo State, our dear Edo State, looking at Alao Dao Summit, scheduled to hold in the next few weeks in Edo State. It is a talk shop program that gaslight the issues of what government has done for its people. We've also asked questions. Let this not just be a talk shop. Let it give meaning to many citizens of Edo State. Let it create job, create awareness, create development, and create growth. And finally, we looked at the rift between Governor Godwin Obaseki and Philip Shaibu, and the public apology that Philip Shaibu made to his principal, Governor Godwin Obaseki. We've also said that to err is human and to forgive is divine. The ball is now in the court of Governor Godwin Obaseki. But what is important is for Edo State people to have good governance, and that underpins everything. It's on that note that I want to say thank you so much for joining us today, and to thank our dear brother and friend Henry Bakare, who has been very busy making comments, and above all, he has bought up loads of stars. Thank you so much, Henry Bakare, all the way from Italy. May your pocket never run dry. Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, thank you for keeping a date with us. Thank you for listening to today's program. Remember the deal, please share, and do endeavor to go to TCS blog to see all our programs. On that note, I want to say thank you so much. Thank you so much, Comrade Lantik Bamusa Raki, for sparing time today and for sharing your views. And I will end with the words of Peter Gregory Obi. A new Nigeria is not only possible, it's upon us. Stay out of trouble until you come your way again next Sunday. Bye for now.
Comrade Show, wait, Comrade Lante Oriake. This is the Comrade Show.